to Season 2, Episode 5 of the RC Audio Sports Vodcast. Haley Wilson, Coach Robert Villafranca. We are back this week with lots of action. We're going to talk about some tennis, cross country, some football, but we're going to start it off with what happened last Friday, this past Tuesday, and this upcoming Friday. But we're going to start off with some volleyball. But before we get into all of that, we want to thank our sponsors, Martinez and Associates, Rufio, Texas Revolution Youth Football and Cheer, Proper Realty with Vanessa G. Medina, Brooks, Rocking G Grill, Model Mortgage Plus, Superior Tax Service, live from the South Side, and J-Rod Video Productions, along with Harlandale ISD. And we'll start there. Coach, on the Vodcast, we have this week, talking about the things we always talk about, what's happening in the district in 28-5A volleyball. There was some action this past Tuesday, some really good action, and followed up by action that we had the previous Tuesday with some exciting volleyball. So it's just continuing to be some exciting Tuesday nights for us.
Yeah, it certainly is, Bob. I'll start us off with last Friday. It's boom, boom, boom with volleyball. Of course, games every Friday, every Tuesday night, and then as we post this and publish our vodcast, and it's we've got games right after our vodcast. But we'll go to a week ago to last Friday's matches. The Harlandale Indians defeated the Medina Valley Panthers in a knockdown dragout, 3-2. If you'll remember from last Tuesday, taking it back a little further back, Harlandale had that tough 5-setter against South San. So Harlandale survives 2 5-setters last week, including last Friday's against Medina Valley, 3-2 win over Southside, 3-0 in sets. Southwest defeated McCullum. It was a sweep there, and again, Southwest is having a phenomenal season. They had a great non-district season, 20 wins before they even started district, and undefeated now in district. And South San started to correct their course last Friday. They took 2 hard losses to open up district play, but they swept Southwest Legacy 3-0 last Friday. And then, of course, we came up to next Tuesday. Haley, tell us about Tuesday.
Yeah, so before I get into kind of the game that we had the chance to cover, Harlandale swept Southwest Legacy 3-0. Some of the shout outs and standouts that I was able to see from that game: Emily Perez had 16 kills and Kayla Reyes had 31 assists. So big game from the Indians. Southwest swept Southside 3-0, and then South San big win over Win with a 3-0 sweep as well. So must be a little dusty this week. There's a lot of sweeping going on, but we had the chance to cover the Medina Valley and McCullum game over at Medina Valley this week, which ended up being a really good game. Might not look like it on the stat sheet, but Medina Valley was able to pick up the win 3-0. Just a really good effort from teams all around. Some of the notes are some of the things that I noticed, and would love to hear your thoughts, Coach. But despite being down for a good portion of the game, McCullum, like, if you didn't see the scoreboard, you would have never known they were down. They were in it. They were super passionate, very, very pumped up, brought their absolute A game to the table, and things didn't necessarily shake out for them. They won the first set, but Medina Valley really just kind of took control in that second set and really steered the ship from then on.
Yeah, that was, as you said, McCullum opened up on the road at Medina Valley, taking the first set, and they looked like they were going to be in control. And then Medina Valley came back in the second set, and a name that you don't hear much. She doesn't make the stat count very often, but we said over and over that Kara Garcia had a big impact on that second set and kind of turning things around when Medina Valley's more the hitters that you would expect to be making the kills were missing their marks a little bit in that first set. It was Kara Garcia, I felt, that really settled things down and brought Alana Smith, the freshman, and of course Haley Hurtado, the senior, back into the fold. Tony Holhouse as well. Yeah. But it was kind of Kara Garcia kind of played the bridge there a little bit. And the margins were, in the around the 10s that Medina Valley was winning by, but even in that last set, that fourth set that Medina Valley won, McCollum had the lead in that set and just wasn't able to hold on to the lead. Gabriela Gamboa, boy, she brings it every night, and she had some outstanding hits. And of course, she's helped by Roslyn Rodriguez as well. And Roslyn knocked a few down too, but just not enough. And Medina Valley was able to come back and win that match, and even their district record at 2-2, and they're going to be in the mix. I mean, I don't think anybody that observes 28 5A volleyball has thought for a second that Medina Valley was not going to be in the mix, and McCollum will continue to be in the mix as well. But what an outstanding, we've had 2 Tuesday night volleyball games, and we've had really 2 very, very good matches, and we're looking forward. We'll tell you a little bit about the one we got coming up too, but our Tuesday night volleyball is worth a watch.
Most definitely. Talk about that first Tuesday night match that we did over at South San. Medina Valley, McCollum was equally as intense as far as the crowd was concerned. And yeah, Coach, and Haley, McCollum really gave Medina Valley all they could handle. I know they won that match 3-1, but McCollum really made Medina Valley work really hard for that victory.
Yeah, absolutely. And then looking forward to this week, just kind of a preview of the games coming up this Friday. We have Southwest versus South San, Harlandale versus Wynn, Southside and McCollum, and then Medina Valley versus Southwest Legacy. So again, like we've talked about a couple of times, Coach, very competitive district. Every game is very important. There's not really any games that you can kind of throw away or not worry about. And I know that we have an exciting game coming up next Tuesday that we're planning on covering as well.
And of course, these teams have got to get through their Friday matches. But if Harlandale is able to get a victory against Wynn, and Southwest is able to beat South San next Tuesday night, we're going to be at Harlandale High School for what is the first home game for the Indians. They've been on the road. They've been road warriors all year long as the Harlandale High School Gymnasium has been undergoing some renovations, and they haven't played a game at home yet this year, unless you call Harlandale Middle School their home court, but they have not played a home game yet. And their first one will be next Tuesday against Southwest. And whether they get there 5-0 and 5-0, it's going to be a big one. We're gonna get to bring to you. But let's a little bit on next Fridays. Each one of them marks the interestometer just a little bit. South San and Southwest, I think, is big. Southwest is, of course, they're 4-0, and South San has corrected their course, and they're 2-2. They won the last 2. South San is a very good team. Their 2 losses have come against Medina Valley and Harlandale. So no slouches there. There'll be a few teams in 28 5A that are going to take those losses. And this is really a chance for South San and Southwest. They were the 2 teams that had the best non-district seasons, and both of them reaching that 20-win mark before they got to district. And South San, hit a little speed bump there. So this is a good chance for South San to redeem themselves. This is a big one. One's 4-0, one's 2-2, but this is going to be big. And of course, Harlandale goes on the road. That's a long trip to Eagle Pass Wynn. And anytime you put high school athletes on a bus and travel down the road a couple of hours, there's distractions, and it's just a little harder to keep a team focused. Wynn's always dangerous at the house. And then Southside and McCollum. Southside again. They've shown that. They've shown they can compete. They're having a tough time getting them in the win column. And this is, the sand is falling through that hourglass a little bit for Southside. We're still in the first half of the season. Plenty of time for them to come back, but they can't have too many more missed opportunities. And then Medina Valley will head to Southwest Legacy, and we'll keep an eye on that game as well. But Medina Valley's got to be feeling good after they've just defeated McCollum and even their record at 2-2. So some great games Friday. We'll be keeping an eye on all of them.
Yeah, and be sure to, if you're following along on our broadcast on Friday night, I believe we'll be at Harlandale Memorial that night, and we'll be able to give you updates throughout the football broadcast as well. Coach, talk about team tennis here for or what's going on in tennis in the district?
Yeah, we trying to up level. We're trying to level up. I guess that's the term. We're trying to level up our coverage here of the sports across the spectrum in 28-5A, and we've reached out to some tennis coaches, and we've asked for them to keep us informed and send us the stuff. And so this is our first podcast where we get to cover tennis just a little bit. Tennis has two seasons. They have a fall season and a spring season. In the fall, it's team tennis, and they play as a team, and they score as a team, and they advance as a team through the playoffs. In the spring, it's singles and doubles, and you advance as you perform as a single tennis competitor or with a doubles team. But we're in team tennis. It's fall. We're in team tennis, and Medina Valley, who always brings a solid tennis team to the mix, is undefeated at they're at 4-0. They haven't lost a match yet or a team match this year. McCullum at 3-1. Southwest at 2 wins and a loss. Harlandale has 1 win against 2 losses. Southwest Legacy a win against 2 losses, and also a 1 win against 2 losses. South San still looking to get one in the win column. And in 28-5A, Southside does not participate in team tennis, but those are the standings. And they play. Generally, they play every Thursday. They can play. Sometimes they'll play on a Wednesday, depending on court availability and so forth. But matches are usually scheduled on Thursday in tennis. So Harlandale going over to Medina Valley to face them. Southwest goes to win this Thursday. Southwest Legacy at South San, and McCullum gets the bye. They're at 3-1. They get to sit and watch and see what happens to first place Medina Valley against Harlandale. But there you are. That's the 28-5A team tennis wrap up.
Hey Haley, what's your tennis like? We know you play softball. We know you play volleyball. But if we had to cover tennis, could we count on you?
You can count on me. Knowing how it works.
I don't know either.
I've played pickleball.
Oh.
Hey, pickleball.
I mean, it's very different. Tennis is awesome. Tennis is, as I'm sure everyone has, followed Serena Williams in the Open, pretty heavily just a couple of weeks ago. And man, it's a very fun sport to watch. And I don't think you really realize it. So you sit down and you watch it and you start to understand how the scoring works. I don't know if I could do it, but I love watching it. I'll tell you that. So
I know I've played a couple of times, but I tell you what, you don't want me.
Nah.
We get a chance. I have a son who was a very good tennis player. And anytime he's in town and wants to take the rackets out, I tell him, I'll play if you promise to hit it to me. I'm not going to go chase that thing around. Yeah. So that's the deal that we have. We shake, and for the most part, he hits it right back to me. But
there you go.
I like to take my cuts, but it's that court's getting wider and longer as the years go on. But I love tennis.
All right. Hey, let's go with you. Can you tell us a little bit about what's been going on in some cross country?
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of similar to tennis, we haven't had a ton of or haven't been able to provide a ton of coverage, but I know Coach has been working hard on getting connected with coaches to try to get some numbers and some highlights for us to share on the Vodcast. And so I know this past weekend, there was the SAISD meet held over at Brooks. And we had the top finishers for 28-5A boys and 28-5A girls. So for the boys, we had Trustin Regalado, we had Dayrin Kalunga, and Edward Hernandez, all from Harlandale, in the top among the top 3 finishers. So for the women, or for the girls, if you will, we had Madison Perez, Austin Walsh, and Tommy Betancourt. Over at the SAISD meet. So again, kind of like what Coach said, if you guys have any coverage, have any, stats, any, meet results, anything like that, please send it to us so we can continue to share some coverage on cross country and tennis and all that good stuff that we might not be able to go to the meets and to the matches.
One of the cool things about cross country and track alike is that the district, the athletes that will compete at the district meet a lot of times don't see each other until the district meet and don't compete against each other. And this meet that SAISD hosted at Brooks, for 28-5A, it was McCullum and Harlandale and Southwest. Southwest Cast was there also. And I think the Southwest Cast runners are going to compete with 28-5A. I'm trying to get that clarified for sure. But again, Trustin, Dayron, and Edward were among the top 3 finishers of the 28-5A runners that ran at that event. But obviously, I mean, you can go right down the list. Medina Valley wasn't there. Southwest Legacy wasn't there. Southwest Legacy has some very good runners, boys and girls. Wynn was not there. Wynn traditionally has a very good cross-country team. But again, as they run their meets across town, sometimes you don't come together a lot of times until that district meet. So a little mystery involved, and the courses are a little different. The terrain's a little different. So it's hard to compare. You're not always comparing apples to apples when you're looking at the numbers. And so there's always a little mystery that goes along with that district meet here at the end of the season. But we're looking forward to it. They are just like volleyball and football. They're at about the midpoint of their cross-country season, and we've got about 5 weeks to the cross-country district meet, and we're looking forward to that. We look forward to covering that as well.
Yeah, definitely. Anytime we get any of those scores, like Haley said, or any of that updated information, we'd love to share that content with you guys. Let's move on over to some 14-5A Division II football. We just finished and wrapped up with 3 weeks of football. Last week, we went to Harlandale Memorial Stadium. Harlandale ends up beating Sam Houston 22-20. What a great game. We're going to get to that game here in just a quick second. Going to go over the other games that were happening in week 3. Edison beat Lanier 20-16. Alamo Heights over McCullum 56-7. Jefferson 34, Brackenridge 28 in overtime. So that was a big win there for Jefferson. Highlands 40, Burbank 21, and that's Burbank's first loss of the season. Haley, anything standing out within those games that you see other than the Harlandale Sam Houston game that we'll talk about in just a little bit?
It's just something that I had noticed when kind of combing through some of the stats this week was just seems like things are getting a little bit closer. I think early on in the season, we saw greater discrepancy in scores, but I mean, Edison and Lanier, that's a 1-score game. Harlandale Sam Houston, 1-score game. Brackenridge Jefferson, 1-score game. Highlands and Burbank, a couple more scores, but first loss of the season for Burbank. So it seems like things are kind of starting to even out and shake out a little bit now that we're kind of midway through the season. And I'm excited to see how everything starts to wrap up. I know I was absent for the Harlandale Sam Houston game.
You're always there in spirit, Haley. You're always
I watched the stream a little bit while I could. My sister's in town. She's not a football fan, so I didn't bring her to the game. But from what I saw in the couple of minutes I watched and from the numbers here, it seemed like it was a real exciting game for the Indians to bring them to 3-0 in district play.
Well, Haley, to your point, not only were they 1-point ball games, they were nail biters. And the Edison Lanier game wasn't settled until the final 35 seconds that Edison scored that touchdown in the final 35 seconds of the game. And then Harlandale and Sam Houston, of course, was tied in that fourth quarter. The Harlandale defense stepped up and denied a 2-point conversion that would have tied it. And Sam Houston had possession of the ball late in the fourth quarter. And Jackson Garcia, who was our player of the game, our defensive player of the game, made an interception on that possession and pretty much sealed the deal. And then the Jefferson Brackenridge game went into overtime, and Jefferson beating Brack for the first time since 2017 there. And it took them an overtime period to go. So 3 of the games, 1-score ball games, and nail biters, really not settled until the final minutes of the game. And then one of them needing an overtime period to get settled. So yeah, there's some good football going on in 14-5 AD2.
Yeah, Coach, you and I had the call. You were doing 3 things at once and getting better at doing all those things all at the same time. So, but let's get your thoughts. Harlandale 22-20. I know we just kind of skimmed through that to give Haley the update, but let's talk about Jacob Salcedo and how his development has come this year. He's done a fantastic job for the Indians. I can see from the maroon and gold game until now, it is a complete improvement each week for Jacob Salcedo.
Well, it's, you develop, and of course you have your skills and your drills and you have your practices and you try to develop, and that is a big part of your development and preparation, but you really don't get the speed, a sense for the speed of a game, whatever the sport is, unless you are in real game competition. So you can, as you said, before last year, he did get in a few games. I don't know that he got into any games that were on the line, and I can't remember that he had extended times in games, but this is really his first season as a junior to be a starter, to get in games, to be in during crunch time, to be over extended periods of time. And yes, you can see the development. For me, this past week, he had there was a play that Harlandale it's been a staple of their offense for the last 5 years. Jet sweep, option jet sweep here. You give it to the motion back that's coming across, or the quarterback can hold it and take it up the middle. And some of that is a read option. Some of it is called. And but again, I hadn't really seen that. I hadn't seen Harlandale call that play for Jacob yet this year. And against Sam Houston, a very speedy team, Jacob did. He took it up the middle from the 50-yard line, and he broke a tackle or two, and then he got past the defensive backs, and he was not to be caught. So I was a little bit. I didn't expect Jacob to be such a dual threat kind of quarterback. We've seen him extend plays and evade sacks in the pocket, but I haven't seen him run like that. And so that was that's another. That's another tool, another weapon in the arsenal of the Harlandale Indian offense. If you can count on Jacob to get out in the open field and outrun a defense like he did. So
yeah, it seems like he's unveiling a weapon every game.
Yeah.
Even I know that was the Texas Revolution Youth Football and Cheer play of the game. One of the other ones that I thought that he made a play that was super important too on that drive for the Indians was a punt.
It was a punt that had a bad snap on a punt,
and he just ended up taking it and getting the first down. I mean, that is huge. I mean, that could have easily been a turnover on downs, and that could have changed the course of the ball game. But that just goes to show you the type of versatility for Jacob Salcedo for this past game. Coach,
on that play, Bobby, the Indians were punting from about their own 35-yard line. So if he wasn't able to get that punt off, it was going to go over on downs. Sam Houston with a short field and plenty of time. That would have been a whole different situation. The Indians only up by 2 at that point, but again, he was able to scoop the snap up and to get to the first down marker. He got to the 45-yard line, gave the Indians another set of downs. I don't think they made another first down after that, but they got a good, clean punt. And instead of the Hurricanes taking the ball over at the Indian 35, they got possession.
Yeah, and they were able to
10-yard line.
Pin the Hurricanes back and put them in a more of a desperate situation, which therefore leads up to the defensive stance where Jackson Garcia just wise on the play, on the coverage, gets in the right area, takes the ball, and that's it. Seals the game for the Indians. Jackson Garcia, we call his name very often in all the games. He just seems to be a part of every tackle, whether it's run to his side or not.
A little bit of a ball hawk. He's always around the action. And on the other side of the ball, Zion Molina was our Martinez and Associates offensive player of the game. It was really in game 3 of district play, game 4 of the season that I think Harlandale really started establishing their run game. It hadn't been present earlier in the season, but the Indians really a little more balanced in game 4 of the season than they had been in previous games. But that pretty much wraps up last Friday. We got another Friday to look forward to, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday to look forward to. What's going on there?
So coming up, we've got this Thursday where we will be at Alamo Stadium. Harlandale will be visiting Brackenridge, who Brack will be looking for their first win. Harlandale looking to stay undefeated. Edison and Sam Houston. Lanier will play McCollum. We'll talk a little bit about that one in just a moment. We'll talk about that one there. And then we got Burbank and Alamo Heights, and then Jefferson and Highlands. Those are all going to be very competitive games, but let's start with Thursday, and then we'll go with Friday, because Friday, like you said, Coach, we do have Lanier and McCollum, but since Thursday's coming up very soon, we'll have that game. And it's the Indians looking to keep undefeated and keep Brack out of the win column. Let's talk about that game.
The Indians 3-0, Brack 0-3. You'd think that maybe this would be a lopsided game, but let's look at their opponents. Harlandale is 3-0 against teams that are 3-6, I believe. Their combined records are 3-6. So they've gotten to their record against teams that are 3-6. Brack's had a little tougher go. They're 0-3, but their opponents that they played are 6-3. So I think they're a little bit more evenly matched, and those records would indicate Harlandale and Brack always a very competitive game. And I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be at Alamo Stadium on RC Audio Sports. So really looking forward to that one. And then Friday, as you said, it's Lanier at McCollum. And both of those squads with 1 and 2 records, there's 5 teams in 14-5 AD2 that have one win and 2 losses. So again, just like we were talking about over volleyball, they're trying. The dust is yet to settle, and there'll be every week a little more dust will settle. And very important for these 2 squads to jump out to 2 and 2 instead of 1 and 3. That's a big hole to get out of.
Yeah, Haley, and I think for McCollum, I think this is a matchup where coming into this game, we've seen McCollum a couple of times already, and we know that they've had some issues as far as penalties and those kinds of things, but they got in the win column.
Yeah,
they've done some good things, and now they're going up against a Lanier team that's a possible win for them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've talked about it before, but Coach Klon has kind of said, throughout the season and some of the interviews that he did and all that good stuff, like, hey, we just want to have a competitive winning record. We're not trying to do it all. We don't have, some big grandiose goal of trying to go out and, we're going to win everything from the jump. We want to go out, try to win our Friday game or our Thursday game every week and have, a good winning record at the end of the season. So I'm excited to see how kind of McCollum comes off of not last week's win, but the win before. And then, from Lanier's side, right, again, it's an away game for them. So hopefully it'll be a fun Friday Night Lights environment like it always is, and a competitive game for both teams.
Yeah, so Thursday, again, we'll be at Alamo Stadium. And then Friday, Haley, I believe you are joining us again. So it's going to be a hot one, I hear. I see that the weather is going to keep us in the near hundreds. So
oh, wow.
It's going to be nice and warm since we're going to be outside amongst the crowd, which, that would be the only, in my opinion, the only setback for us would be in the heat. But we had an opportunity to do a couple games there already, and I kind of like it. I kind of like being in the crowd.
It's a lot of fun. It's like college game day. We're right there with them.
Yeah. So we get to get some tan on. We get to get our tan on. We get to get some vitamin D. It's good.
Yeah. So we'll be ready for that. Coach and Haley, let's talk about some of the accolades that have come through for the people in our district. I'll give it to you, Haley.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. I know we only have a few minutes left here, so wrapping it up with the accolades. Alamo Heights came in the 8th spot in the Express News Weekly poll. So a new name from the district added to the list. We had Highlands quarterback Joseph Clay, who earned a game ball this week. So congrats to Joseph. And then we had one of Harlandale's outside hitters, who we already mentioned this podcast, Emily Perez, who was named the Express News Volleyball Player of the Week, which is huge. So congratulations to Emily, to Joseph, and then to the Alamo Heights football team on sweeping up this week's accolades.
You know, when you look at players of the week on with the football schedule, you've got one game a week, so you've got to shine for one game, and it's a little bit different with those court sports, volleyball and basketball. You've got 2 games a week, and so to get up into the player of the week ranks and to get noticed there, I mean, you've got to put together back-to-back games, as Emily did against South San on Tuesday, and then Medina Valley on Friday. Very deserving, and happy to see an athlete from 28-5A getting recognized by the local newspaper.
Yeah, definitely. It's always good to get that recognition. And at this time, you know, as we're hitting the under 1 minute mark here, I just want to say always enjoy meeting with you two, and can't wait to see you guys again very soon on Thursday, so we can get the next couple of games done. Make sure and follow us, RC Audio Sports. You know the name on our YouTube channel. It's the same on Instagram, Twitter, and on Facebook, and you'll get all that information. So Haley, Coach Villafranca, we'll see you guys on Thursday.